Alright, good morning everybody. Sunday the 18th, and it's sticky outside. Humid. Humid. Today I just want to talk about a few different things. I guess crossbows versus compound or recurve, whatever you're using, and baiting versus food plot. I know these two subjects are huge, very controversial, and I don't like the controversial part because it does bring out negativity, arguments, whatever. Anyways, let's just get into it. I'm going to go get myself a warmer and we'll dive into this.
Every hunter out there wants deer coming into their stand, right? Why do we use full force hunting products? That's why.
All right, we're back. I want to clear the air first on one thing. There's a few people asking me why I changed the name of the podcast, why I'm going off in a different direction. I just don't. My skin is thick. It takes a lot to bother me, but there's a lot of negativity that comes with certain subjects when it comes to hunting. So I'm just not gonna really dive into that stuff. I don't want to get technical about all this. This is my friends and I we just want to go out and video our hunts, have fun, not get into the technical aspect of anything, and just show you how we hunt and why we set up in a certain area. But the technical stuff on whether it be a gun or your archery equipment, we're not going to dive into that. So anyway, first things that I want to talk about is baiting versus food plot or versus hunting over a cornfield or a bean field or a rye field or whatever. The states seem to think that baiting is the cause of CWD, which I really just, I don't get it, If you take a 100-acre cornfield or 100 acres of corn and see how many deer go into that and eat that compared to how many deer actually come to a bait pile, it's much more significant. So, what are your thoughts? I mean, yeah, I know there's really no difference. There's no difference of 5 deer eating under an apple tree and 5 deer coming to a cornfield. There's no difference, and there's never been any scientific proof that that's how these diseases are passed on. So, how many times a day do deer hit licking branches? It's natural to them. They'll go to a licking branch, at least once a day, especially during the rut, maybe 4 or 5 times a day. I don't know. I think this is the government's way of controlling you even more. It just seems odd to me that there's no scientific proof, and they just want to do that. But what are your thoughts? Why don't you just give me your thoughts down below? Leave them there. We'll be right back. All right. So I grew up in an era that we didn't bait. The baiting really didn't start until probably mid 80s. There was a few guys doing it. And now You hit 1990, 91, 92 right in there, and it was completely full. I mean, just full blown. Everybody baited. Every street corner here in Michigan was selling carrots or sugar beets, and that's everybody. That's how everybody hunted. So the people that kind of grew up in that era, that started hunting in the 90s, that's how they were taught to hunt. And there's they weren't taught like I was, or my friends or my brother went on. We'd go out and scout, and I would spend probably, God, come September, I'd probably spend 4 or 5 days in September just walking the woods, scouting, hanging stands. And we weren't big into baiting, but throwing bait out, throwing carrots out was a big thing in the 90s, and it made things a lot easier for us. We would go through, we were buying carrots in 50-pound bags. And it got to the point where I was going straight to the carrot farmer and loading up the back of my truck. I mean, that's just what we did back then. So kids that grow up now, or that grew up in the baiting era, that's all they know. They don't know certain signs to look for. They don't know. They may not know what a rub is or a scrape or anything like that. So now, since we have all these cameras, you put them on runways. There's really, I'm not going to say there's no need to bait, but I'll tell you what, it's the fastest way to fill a freezer. Heck yeah, it is. And I know there's guys out there that say, oh, baiting's not hunting. They're going to pound their chest and act like they're Tarzan and they know everything about hunting. But as soon as you confront them and say, hey, let's see your wall, and there's nothing on their wall, keyboard warrior. Yeah, I do miss. I really enjoyed baiting, man. I mean, there wasn't a time that it was very rare that you didn't see any deer. Very rare. And that's probably the biggest reason I like hunting. I like to watch deer and learn about them and so on and so forth. And I know there's guys out there that still do it. And they love to do it, and they're going to continue to do it. And I know here in Michigan, the average ticket on baiting, I think, is $125. I think the average processor here in Michigan charges about the same, $125. Go buy a side of beef today. A little more than $250, ain't it? I know a couple guys that they don't care. They're going to continue to bait because it's the fastest way to feed their families, fill the freezers, and it's a heck of a lot cheaper than buying beef. Heck yeah. I'll take a ticket. I'll take a ticket and take it to the processor, and it's still cheaper than buying beef. So, all right, we'll be right back.
Every hunter out there wants deer coming into their stand, right? Why do we use full force hunting products? That's why.
Yeah. It's funny because I actually went to the grocery store last night and I bought 4 steaks. And these are cheap steaks. Cheap steaks. And I still spent $50 on cheap steaks. 4 of them. 4. Bidenomics at its best. All right. So, what I'd like for you guys to do is just kind of down below, leave me your comment. Let me know what you think about food plots versus baiting versus hunting over a farmer's cornfield. Just let me know your thoughts are. Growing up in that in that same era, and watching my dad go from in the 70s go from a bare recurve bow to a bare compound, and actually I got it right here. As I knock crap off the walls. This thing is a relic. I mean, this thing's old. I want to say he bought this. I want to say he bought this in the late, mid 70s when they first come out. You got to take cables here, move it up onto the pulleys. I mean, this thing was it back then. But I have it, and I have this. My father passed away 3 years ago, and my brother was like, "You want it?" I'm like, "Cool." I was going to take, I really wanted to take it out last year and try to shoot a deer with it, but when I went to shoot it in a target, I don't think this thing was, I was cracking up because it's so slow. I mean, it is, I don't know. At 30 yards, you can just see the lob. But I think I'm going to try it this year. I'm just going to try and take a doe with it this year. Why not, It'll be a good laugh, I guess. I don't know. But this was technology back then, I mean, it just, that was the cat's ass right there, man. So when we go from, longbow recurve into these compounds, and then you get into the compounds nowadays, and now we are allowed to use crossbows. Some of these crossbows, man, it's like shooting a frickin' shotgun. So, should crossbows be really a part of archery season? I mean, we're talking, some of these bows now are 450 feet per second. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I got one. It shoots 405 or 410. And, it's pretty deadly up to 50 yards easily. Should they? Or shouldn't they be part of archery season? Let me know your comments below. Personally, I flip me a coin. I don't know. There's a time and a place, I guess. It wasn't too long after my dad started using this whitetail compound. He handed me down his recurve, and I was using that. But as the years went on, I used it for about 4 years, 5 years. I really, when he gave it to me, I think I was 12 years old, right in there. In Michigan at that time, you were allowed to hunt archery at 12 years old. That was the law then. Now it's like, if you're 6 years old, go ahead. But as I got older, I really wanted something else. I think I was 15 years old, and my dad goes to Kmart, and he buys me an Indian bow. It was a compound, and they were selling them at Kmart. Man, you talk about a difference. A difference. At that time, there was really no archery stores. You would go to maybe some sporting goods stores would carry archery equipment, but Kmart had a pretty big selection back then. So that's what I used that for about 4 or 5 years. So now I don't know. Like I said, time and a place for a crossbow. When they first come out, when they start first becoming big here in Michigan, you needed a permit, a disability permit to use them, and then that only lasted a couple years, and then it was okay. Everybody can use them, and well, here we are. I'm not saying everybody. It's very rare that I take mine out. Certain situations I will. I just feel my vertical bow. I just feel more comfortable with that, and that's what I like to use. I know there was a certain year, or there was a certain time that you couldn't. If you had, I think it was 65% or more let off, you couldn't enter it in the record books. Gosh, I mean, when was that? That 20 years ago or so. So when these compounds became big, the let offs on these were huge. I mean, 65%, you can hold that all day. You couldn't enter it in the record books. I don't know if anybody remembers that or not. If you do, leave a message down below. If that's still the case, why would we be entering bucks in with crossbows? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of record books or anything like that. I got many on the wall here that I can put in the record books, but it's just, to me, if they're mine, I like it. I don't need recognition. I just like having them on my wall. But I'm curious how many of you out there actually have put bucks in put your buck in the record books. What has it done for you? Nothing yet. Would you spend $100, $150 to have it put in? I don't know. It's not my gig. Not my gig. All right. I'll be right back. All right, we're gonna wrap this up. Couple things. There's a lot of product going out right now. A lot. I'm trying to keep up with you guys. Rope kits. Rope kits are flying out of here like crazy. If you guys haven't used a rope kit before, or even heard of it, ask around. It's the best $40 that you can invest in. In most cases, it's better than bait. Really, it is. Second thing, we are going to be down in Emily City here the weekend of September 7th. We're going to be at the Woods and Waters outdoor show for 3-4 days. Come on by. We'll be giving away a lot of stuff, a lot of freebies there. And that's probably the biggest show in Michigan. There's probably going to be 400 vendors there. So if you're looking for some product, we're going to have some huge discounts on products, packages. We're going to be giving away a one big package of it'll be a bunch of mineral, bunch of rope kits, and just an assortment of stuff. We're going to be giving that away to one person. Again, September 7th, Emily City, and we're going to be in booth 303. Stop by and see us. But other than that, you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll be back here in about a week. See ya.